Hello, folks. Welcome to our new episode of Mohsen, my mentor. And today we have with us my good old friend. And since we were talking before this podcast that we haven't spoken for so many years now, since he had an experience of traveling around the world. So here he is. And I'm pretty much hopeful that so many listeners must have been his students and they must know him. So, welcome, Temu, to our episode.
Thank you very much for having me, Moshan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Temu. I hope all things are pretty aligned in your life and moving around the globe with different.
Yes, I am a bit of a globetrotter going from one place to another, but yeah, settling in now.
Great, perfect. So, Temu, for our listeners, I would really appreciate if you let us know what was your academic background and how did you proceed with this professional experience of writing, journalism, English teaching, and linguistic masters.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's an interesting story, really. I come from a family of doctors and engineers. I was born in a family where, if you're a girl, you have to become a doctor. If you're a boy, you have to become an engineer. I was kind of like the black sheep. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. I still got my degree in computer engineering from Huddersfield University, United Kingdom.
Hmm.
But then after that, I decided engineering was not for me. I was more into language education, language teaching, all of those things. So I did my first master's in English literature. Then I did my second master's in TESOL, which is teaching English to the students of other languages.
Hmm.
And then I'm doing this PhD here in the US at Purdue University, which is also language and literacy. My major is curriculum and instruction. Apart from that, I have like a teaching experience of, I think now 15 years or so, roughly. I taught in Pakistan. I trained for a few years in New Zealand, and now I'm teaching in the US.
Wonderful. So, Temu, for our listeners
Yep.
and me as well, when we say linguistic,
Yep.
is there any specific path? As you said that you did engineering, but
Yes, bachelor's.
yes, yes, yeah, yes, you did the bachelor's, but then you shifted yourself. So, what inclined you? How did you realize that there is some skill set in me which have more interest towards teaching linguistics, and then I can pursue my degree in that particular segment?
Great question, Mohsen. So, as a person, sometimes you just know that you enjoy numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, sometimes as a person, you just know that you enjoy language or languages. So I was kind of like always into languages. I enjoyed reading a lot. I enjoyed writing a lot, and I constantly, subconsciously, I would always draw comparisons between two languages, like English and Urdu, and I'd be like, okay, this, for example, the word bottle. In Urdu, we have botal. So I would automatically, my mind would function in certain in a certain specific manner. I would start comparing these two languages. I was enjoying languages a lot, basically, and I wanted to analyze languages a bit more. And when I got to a certain age, after I did my engineering, I was like, I'm not really enjoying the engineering as such. I would like to study languages more. And that's when I started exploring the field a bit more. Read a little, met a few people. There was this gentleman, he unfortunately he passed away a few years back, Dr. Professor Rafat Karim.
Mm-hmm.
I met him at a university in Pakistan, and he was, in a way, he was my mentor, because in an hour only he changed the way I think, and guided me well, spoke to me about the field a lot, because obviously he knew the field quite well. And that's when I decided, okay, I want to study this more. So I started from literature. While doing literature, I picked up 3 courses on English linguistics as well. And
Okay.
that sparked my interest because I found linguistics, like, now this is obviously a personal choice. I found linguistics more appealing, more interesting than literature. So I switched to linguistics. As I said, my second master's was TESOL, which is a branch of linguistics. So I got into
Yes.
teaching, and then and I was teaching practically, I was teaching as well. I started my professional teaching career from Berlitz, which is an American language institution in Pakistan.
Hmm.
So I was teaching there, then I moved on to university level teaching, and I was studying all this time as well. The the interesting part is that I was not just relying on my degrees, I was researching a lot on my own as well. So I would just go to the library, pick up books, and I would start reading. And I found out that linguistics in Pakistan, if you talk about linguistics, people generally know, oh, English linguistics. Yeah, I've heard of it. I found out that there is so much more to it. There is ratiolinguistics, there is sociolinguistics, there is psycholinguistics, there's neurolinguistics. So there's a lot that you can do. Depends what your interests are.
Wonderful. So when we speak with respect to linguistic and you have international experience as well across the globe, what are the career opportunities? Can these people be adopted as a writer, or they can pursue their career in academics, or maybe editor of any of the journal or newspaper? What are the different area of opportunities for a linguistic professional?
Yeah, all of those things, Mohsin. Depends where you are. Like in Pakistan, again, if you do English linguistics, mostly people they either go into writing related stuff, for example, journalism, or they join different magazines, or they join different newspapers as editors and whatnot. If you want to be an academic, then you can join universities as well. You can start teaching. The courses that you will specifically teach would be linguistics and communications and writing related courses. Like I used to teach mostly TESOL kind of stuff, English language,
Hmm.
English literature, communication, oral communication, written communication, foundational English, that sort of stuff. So in Pakistan, it's kind of like that. When we talk about the global or the international context, you have more options. For example, you can go into racial linguistics, and that means you can go towards curriculum development. And when I talk about curriculum development, I do not mean to say that you are only just writing curriculum. No, you are critically analyzing it from the perspective of races. That if there are certain races that are disadvantaged in a curriculum, then you talk about that and you
Okay.
transform the curriculum. You can
Mhm.
go towards neurolinguistics, which is all about studying bilingual people, people like you, people like me who speak multiple languages.
Mhm.
How are their brains different from people who are monolinguals, who speak only English, for example, or who speak only one language, for example? So that's in a nutshell neurolinguistics. And then there is educational linguistics, how to teach, for example, like if you want to teach a certain language, I'm not just talking about English, could be any other language, could be your first language as well, how to specifically design courses and how to teach those languages. So there's a lot of scope actually. Depends again what country you are in.
Wonderful thing. But now when we have uh, online platforms available, you are global, right?
Hmm.
So, if you want to market yourself internationally, globally, if you have, let's say, I was reading some stats. It says that one of the major buyer of online courses, especially when we talk about learning English, is China.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you can
Yeah.
be global for that, right?
Oh, absolutely. So I have colleagues who are also doing their doctorate here and they're teaching at the same university from
Hmm.
China, from Korea. Especially this lady from Korea, she designs courses and she sells courses in Korea online. She's herself here in the US, but she's teaching in Korea. And that is hardcore English language teaching. Same applies to the lady who's from China. She's also pretty much doing the same thing. Her courses obviously are different, but language is of course the same because in China a lot of people they want to learn English.
Hmm.
All of these countries actually they're called in our field they are called the outer circle or the expanding circle of English, which essentially means these are the countries where English is not spoken that much, but people want to learn English a lot. Even certain Middle Eastern countries would fall into that category, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
yeah, a lot of a former colleague of mine, he lives in Pakistan now. He
Hmm.
designs courses and he sells courses in Middle East, in Saudi. So
Wow,
yes, people are globally doing this thing as well.
wonderful. That's great. So, Temu, another question comes
Yeah.
in my mind regarding this. When you talk about different things, there are different area of specialization. Let's say
Yes.
you have mentioned the linguistic portion, and you have specifically highlighted the ratio
Yep.
linguistic,
Yep.
then the curriculum development one. That's
Yep.
it. And when we specifically talk about writing,
Hmm.
we know people, those who specialize in having editorial job,
Yep.
those who write in journals as well as the
Yep.
newspapers, publications.
Yep.
Some of the people are also doing copywriting sort of thing. That's another term which we have seen in the corporate world, which is being adopted.
That's right.
So
That's right.
you have specifically mentioned there are specialized electives when you're going through the degree program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there any certification as well which leads to this, or you one has to pursue the degree which can lead to the career transformation?
In the US, if we talk about the US context, copywriting and all of those things, that is more towards creative writing. People do There are degrees as well as certifications. People do that sort of stuff, and then they move towards copywriting and things like that. The issue with copywriting is, you know, AI is taking over.
Yes,
AI is taking over real fast. So people know that in the next 10 years or so, at the moment, AI is learning. It's just learning, right? But
yes,
in the next 10 years or so, it won't be learning anymore. It might be teaching us actually.
yes,
So, it's getting smarter and smarter. That's what I'm trying to say here. So that's why people are a little hesitant going towards copywriting anymore, because
mm-hmm,
they know that in the future they might be made redundant, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm,
So that's the general perception. It may happen, it may not happen. You never know, because I personally don't think that technology can ever replace human beings. I don't think so. But yeah, that's the general perception at the moment. Usually, what happens is that people who study linguistics, they go towards academic writing. And I was feeling really, really proud of Pakistan as well. I'm doing a research project on Pakistan actually these days. So
right,
I was reading the local scholars there, and I felt so proud. I mean, I could see that there were so many local journals. Some of them, of course, they are not that good, but then there are some that are really good. And
mm-hmm,
I extracted a few articles from those journals, and I could see that the local scholars are writing a lot in those journals, and they're getting published locally a lot, which is great. So what I'm trying to say here is that normally after doing linguistics these days, usually what people do is, if they are into writing, if they have that writing bug like I do, I have published twice now, and I'm working on my third research article. And there's already a dissertation proposal that I'm working on, which will be with the IRB shortly. So what I'm trying to say is that people go towards academic writing more these days. That's a safer area. It has multiple advantages. Number one, I don't think that AI will ever be able to write research articles like us, human beings. If that makes sense. It'll never be able to do that, because you need to have that human touch, for research. If I'm interviewing you, and if an AI software is interviewing you, you can imagine there's going to be a huge difference. So the way I think and write and the way AI thinks and writes, these are two different things altogether. That's one thing.
yeah,
Second, if you get published again and again in research articles, in research journals, peer-reviewed journals, then that makes your profile really, really good, right? And what happens is, you may not make a lot of money initially, but that profile will essentially land you a very decent job somewhere down the road. And I know people who lived in Pakistan, they made their research profile really, really good, ended up in places like the United Kingdom and United States just because of their research profile. Only because of their research profile. So normally people go towards academic writing. That's what I'm trying to say
yeah. And there are some credentials because I've also taught in universities and so I know there are
here.
some credentials attached to this. If we're talking about business schools, there are CSB ratings and other
Mhm.
ratings which are being aligned with respect to the academic proficiency of their faculty members.
Mhm.
And those faculty members are being evaluated on the basis of the publications which they have done. Then there are different ratings assigned to the journals. So
That's right.
yes, there is whole system which is working in the background for the academic writing.
That's right. That's right. And it's relatively a new field. I mean, it has been going on for a few decades. Yes, I understand that, but still, it's new. With research, the beauty of research, especially if we are talking about qualitative research, nothing can ever be done to its fullest, if that makes sense. There's always a new angle. There's always a new person thinking about the same topic, and something new comes up. So it's a field that I don't see getting saturated in the next 100 years or so. I don't think so.
Yeah, because research is always evolving. We are coming up with
Correct.
the new things.
Correct. Correct.
So that's
You and I, we can teach, this the exact same subject. we can have, as you know, a batch of students who are of the exact same level, but the way we approach our teaching is going to be completely different.
Yes, that's
So these things will always be, kind of like new.
yes, perfect. And regarding publications, Taimur, you have also written some of the articles in newspapers as well. And
Yes.
if I'm not wrong, you have a book as well, which is,
I have I think 3 or 4 now.
yeah, wonderful. So, how was that experience?
So this is when I started. I started back in 2008. My first article, I remember it came out in Dawn, and it was in education. And for me, that was a very happy moment. So I started with newspaper writing basically, and then one thing led to another, and I just kept writing and writing. So I can't even count how many newspaper articles now I have. There are book reviews. I've written on a little bit on technology. I've written a little bit on sports, but mostly on education and language education specifically. Then I wrote a little for Express Tribune as well.
Hmm.
Then I started focusing on fiction. So I was working for a magazine for one of the TV channels back in Pakistan, and there was this lady. She taught me quite a bit. So I wrote my first book, which is now on Amazon. Then I wrote my second book, that is also on Amazon at the moment. And then I was approached by an industrialist in Pakistan, a politician as well, and he wanted me to write his biography. So I wrote his biography, and then another gentleman approached me, and then the third one came out. So multiple books, one after another. Then I did one a project which was very close to my heart. That was for kids. I always wanted to write something for kids, for children. So I wrote a book which is called The Talking Tiger, and that was published by the Oxford University Press in Pakistan. It's available in Pakistan. So that, yeah. So these are some of the books that I've written. Some of them are on Amazon, some of them are available in shops in Pakistan.
Wonderful, wonderful experience. And that's why I was following you up to get some time because, uh,
And just to add to that, Mohsin, sorry, because I think it's very important because people who listen to these things, they're looking not just for inspiration, they are also thinking, where's the money coming from?
oh,
While I was reading writing these books, I made quite a bit of money as well. So just I'm just putting it out there so that people, they know that there is, of course, there is this satisfaction and inspiration aspect, but there is this financial aspect attached to it as well. And you can do that. You just have to put some effort into it.
yeah, but do you think everyone can write based on the experience?
Depends again, on what sort of a person you are. If you are going to pursue linguistics and literature, then there you have to have that writing bug. Otherwise, you just won't start because these
Yes.
fields are all about writing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, there are so many emails coming up, and there are so much uh, platforms there, those who are giving this digital marketing gimmicks that you can publish through self-publishing platform, and it is just that you start giving an idea, and we are going to help you. I think AI is working behind that, but
I
um,
wouldn't recommend doing that, Mohsin, because so when I put my book in the market, a lot of people approached me. I don't know if there was AI in the background or not, but a lot of people approached me, and everybody was going for partner publication. That you pay 50%, for example, we'll pay 50%, and we'll market the book, yada yada yada, this and that. Um, I wouldn't recommend doing that. There are two reasons for that. Number one, most of them are scammers, right? Second, the way you are going to publish your book and put some effort into it and market your book, no one else will because your heart is in the project, right?
yes.
So I think it's better to publish as an indie author. When I say indie author, what I mean is independent author. So you just go
Mhm.
to Amazon. Amazon is there, a brilliant platform. It's there. If you have a little bit of money, if you can go for partner publication, and if you are willing to, invest some money into it, why don't you invest some money in Amazon and just market your book yourself? Why can't you do that? So yeah,
Yes.
I think that makes more sense to me. Publish as an
Perfect.
independent author.
Yes, wonderful. Now, coming to the immigration perspective,
Yeah.
there are so many people who are trying to relocate themselves and looking for opportunities
Mm,
internationally.
mm,
And since you
mm.
have been to more than 5 countries, if I'm not wrong,
This is the sixth country where I'm living.
six countries, wonderful.
US.
and and linguistic play a very, very important role. It's very crucial because people are going for IELTS and multiple such requirements are there.
Yeah.
So, could you please explain to for their convenience that how important it is to have linguistic on their pocket when they are looking to relocate and applying for the immigration perspective?
Yeah, language skills are very, very important. Language, language is not just language, it's a lot more than that. The way like we are talking right now, you're speaking to me because I have a certain skill set and I have a certain kind of experience that you want me to explain in a certain kind of language. If I wouldn't be able to do it, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? So what I'm trying
Yes.
to say is that language is very, very important. So similarly, when you go for example, an interview, immigration interview or visa interview, they will focus on your language skills. So in Pakistan, because I am also connected with a lot of students, I try to help as much as I can. Sometimes, they come to me, they want me to write a reference letter, for example, recommendation letter. Sometimes they come to me with all sorts of problems that my teacher is a very nice person, but he or she, they're not willing to give me a recommendation letter. What do I do? So I started just for these things, I started a YouTube channel actually. And I've put all the information there that you can go there, you can have a look, and you can see that how a statement of purpose is written, how a recommendation letter is written, yada yada yada. So language skills again become so important because if your teacher is not willing to write a letter for you, then what do you do? What's the next best option? You go and draft a letter for yourself. AI can fine tune the letter for you. It's not going to write it. And mind my words, what happens is that if you write everything using AI, universities here, they have the ability to detect and find out what is going on. If you've
Yes.
submitted a statement of purpose, for example, or if you've submitted, a recommendation letter which was written down by AI, university software will get that and your application will be rejected. As simple as that. So so you have to do your own writing. So again, language becomes extremely important. You can give it to a teacher, the teacher can, just sign it and submit it to the portal, and your job is done. So again, writing becomes very, very important. Language becomes very, very important. Second, when you start this process, what's the first document that you are asked for? It's IELTS. So you have to go and you have to take IELTS no matter what. So from that perspective as well, it becomes extremely important. Before your visa interview, if you're applying to a university, for example, they are going to conduct an interview with you. When they conduct that interview, they are going to assess your overall profile, yes, but they're also going to assess your presentation skills. How do you present yourself? How do you present your work? And what sort of language are you using? Academic language, social language, what kind of language are you using? Of course, they understand that this is not our first language, it's our second language, but you need to have at least intermediate level skills so that you can present your case successfully. Yeah, so these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind if you're looking to relocate, especially to an English speaking country, then you need to have those skills and you need to start working on it right now.
Yes, very wonderfully explained, and definitely people will be looking for your YouTube channel visit where you're providing the guidance for this, and then that could be helpful. We can share that on the description as well. And
Yeah, thank you. I try my best. I do not, produce content regularly. It's just that I was getting bombarded with questions a lot. So what I did was that I made it like a series of 12 or 13 videos and I just posted those videos over there that if you want to have a look, you can have a look. People were asking me all sorts of questions. There are very, very brilliant students in Pakistan, by the way. They know all these things, what we just talked about. They get stuck, for example, writing a research proposal. They get
mhm,
stuck there, that how do I structure a research proposal, how do I start, what goes in there. So I made like 3 videos on writing a research proposal. This is how you conceptualize your research, this is how you present it, this is your literature review, this is your methodology, yada yada yada. So yeah, I try to help as much as I can.
wonderful. As you have mentioned, uh, the personality, your mentor was there, and we came up with
Mm.
the vision. Now you yourself are providing services and contributing as a mentor to so many people. Thanks, Taimur, for all this effort which you are putting in. And
No worries at all, Mohsen. I was
th-
just trained by very, very wonderful people.
oh, that's wonderful. That's great to hear. And this is the vision behind Mohsen, my mentor. Actually, I was getting few questions as well, and career perspective is something which is lacking when
Mm.
We
Mm,
see that people coming from different background, they share their
mm,
experiences over here. So we
mm,
try to accommodate youngsters and youth, which is an asset, human capital, which we really talk about.
mm.
And that's a small effort which we are doing. Again, Taimur, thanks a lot. Wish you best of luck for your doctorate program as well and all of the endeavors which you are pursuing.
Thank you very much, Mohsen. Thank you for having me, and I wish you all the very best of luck to you.
Thank you. Take care, folks. This is end of the episode for today, and speak to you very soon, guys. Do subscribe and like our channel. Thank you.